What is up, everybody? Welcome to our very first opening of a Throne of Eldraine booster box. I'm really excited about this. For this episode, we also have a collector's booster pack, which I'm really excited about as well. We will be opening a full box of the collector's boosters as soon as we get them. We just haven't gotten them in yet. Of course, as always, these box openings are sponsored by Grand Slam Comics and Collectibles. Please feel free to go and check out their Facebook page. It is linked in the description below. They're truly a great group of people, and they will be pre-releasing Throne of Eldraine, so if you would like to, please make sure you go over there if you're in our area, the Rock Hill, Charlotte area. Please make sure you do. We also gave out a few proxies for them to hand out as a little bit of an extra incentive, just to make sure people are hopefully going over there and checking them out. So without further ado, we'll save the collector's pack for the very end, but we will go ahead and open up this full box. As far as this set goes, Will and I did our podcast episode on it. It was released this week. So if you haven't, you should definitely check out that episode. We kind of rambled a lot in that one, but we did talk a little bit about like our general thoughts on the set, some specifics as far as things we liked and things we didn't like. And I gave it out of 5. I gave it like a 3.5, 4 rating. I like the mechanics. I like a lot of the stuff that's in this set. I do think it's a very powerful set. We did get Once Upon a Time here, and then a foil, Garenbrig Carver. I do like the set a good bit, but it didn't, resonate with me on certain levels that I feel like some past sets have, and it's, I guess, a little bit of an unfair comparison, but I was comparing the original Ravnica to this set just because of the story and just some features in this one that made it feel really special, and I like that about it, but it didn't hit that same resonance that set did, for me at least. I will say, in terms of sets that we've already seen, this does feel a good bit like the Lorwyn block. There were a lot of really cool things in that block as well, though. Giant Killer is our rare. And then a foil Dwarven Mine. I assume that our foil rating is going to be a little bit higher as well. Not to tangent off here, but that was the case in the last set. My assumption is they're keeping that. So we'll see how many we get throughout this set. But I really do like this set. It's just not like 100% there for me yet. This is one of my favorite cards actually from this set. The Stonecoil Serpent I think is very good. It scales. It fits into every deck. It's exactly what you want. So regardless, though, there were some really cool specific cards. The Legendary Artifact Cycle, in particular, really caught my eye. They're just really powerful cards. I think they're going to do some really awesome things in multiple formats. Castle Ardenvale is the rare here. So this is part of a monocolored rare land cycle. Pretty early on, Mark Rosewater, I believe, was the one that said this, said that there would not be a rare dual land cycle. And part of that was because they did not want mana bases to be too easy. We've seen, obviously, in the past with Ravnica and things like that, a fairly easy mana base for going into 3, even 4, in some cases 5 color decks. And so I think they're kind of pushing away from that. That also kind of segues, excuse me, pretty well into the discussion about the new mechanics. And the first one up is Adamant. Adamant is a really interesting one. It basically rewards you for being in only a single color, or at least having a strong push towards a single color. And to that end, what they've decided to do is give certain things a boost with that Adamant ability if you can pay 3 of any one color of mana. Which I think is really interesting. I think that's a cool way to do it. I like the idea of pushing into only one color. Obviously, it's a sharp contrast from Guilds of Ravnica and things like that we've had recently. But I like that. I think that's going to be a cool little push. It's not something that we've really focused on being a single color format at any time. Excuse me. In recent years, I will say. And so it's kind of nice to be able to do that. So I'm excited to see where some of these constructed decks go. I also think that form's limited in a really interesting way. Obviously, if you end up with just a lot of red Adamant cards, you're going to be forced into that kind of deck, and I think that's pretty cool. So I'm interested. I do think it's going to be pretty fun. Our first foil rare here, Mirror Maid. Don't 100% love this, but I do think it's a pretty interesting card. But I will keep it there. Actually, let's keep it here. Let's keep a track of our foil rares and mythics just to see how many we get. But along with that, there's flagship cards for each monocolored strategy. And wow, that was really perfect. Gadwick the Wizened is actually the blue one. And honestly, personally, one of my favorites. I think it's really, really sweet. All of them, I would say, are very, very powerful in multiple different ways. So obviously Limited is a very strong contender. They're going to be very easy to play in a monocolor deck, a little bit difficult in any multicolor deck solely because they all cost 3 of any whatever color their flagship color is. So Gadwick, they're obviously focusing on 3 blue, but I know the green one is literally just 3 green, which is interesting. And so they're all very, very powerful, but definitely a little bit focused in their mana base. So Fabled Passage, I'm stopping here because I really, really like this one. It is a fetch land for basics, which we saw very recently in Modern Horizons as well. This one, obviously not as good. Excuse me. Solely because it's conditionally untapped, not always untapped. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you control 4 or more lands, you untap the land that you got. Which I think is pretty cool. I like that. I do think that that's going to see play in a lot of different ways. And honestly, I think it's just a really solid land. Any rare land cycle is always something you should keep a lookout for. There's just so much power to be had in the utility of lands, and being able to fetch your colors, even if it is just a basic land, is usually pretty good, especially in Modern against things like Blood Moon and stuff like that. So Wildborn Preserver is our rare this one. And looks like we got the Garruk emblem as well. The Planeswalkers in this set, speaking of Garruk, not my favorite, if I'm going to be honest. So we have 3. We have the Blue-Reds, basically the brother and sister combo. Don't really love them. I think they're the best. Stormfist Crusader is our rare here, by the way. I do think they're the best of the 3, just in terms of their playability in that blue-red kind of shell. They fit super, super well into that. And they're cheap, and they are, if I'm not mistaken, a 5 loyalty planeswalker, which is pretty good. Vantress Gargoyle, really interesting card. Sorry if you hear a dog in the background. We have our little dog Luna is in here, but no big deal. But Garruk is very, very powerful, but obviously very expensive. It very reminiscent of Vraska Relic Seeker. Which is a card we've seen recently, obviously. Ooh, guys, good packs. So rare, Happily Ever After, but we got a foil Cauldron of Eternity. This is part of that legendary artifact cycle, and this is one of my favorites. It's basically a reanimation spell, but it's really, really cool. I like it in maybe a self-mill strategy or something along those lines. And actually, that's our first mythic of the box here, which is kind of interesting. But regardless, Garruk, very, very powerful, but very expensive. 6 mana is quite a bit to pay for a Planeswalker. Obviously, it's a very powerful card. Oh, our second mythic, Realm Cloaked Giant. Very, very cool. But yeah, it just means you're probably not going to be able to run it as like a 4 of or any crazy amount in your standard or your average standard deck. It's just not going to be seen as often because you're not always going to be able to play it. So Return of the Wild Speaker, very cool card as well. That being said, it is still very powerful, and be on the lookout for it for sure. And then, of course, we have Oko, who is our new Planeswalker in this set. And honestly, very unimpressed with Oko. I don't think he's all that great. I think he's fine, but I don't know. I think that's one of those cards that we're going to have to wait and see how the set itself pans out. Obviously, creates food tokens, which is cool, but how useful is that long term? I don't know. We're going to see, obviously, as Constructed kind of plays out what everybody thinks of him and all that kind of stuff. Third mythic, actually, Rankle, Master of Pranks, really interesting card, one that we did talk about on the podcast, and then a foil Bake into a Pie. That's pretty funny. But Oko just doesn't seem all that great to me. Seems, I don't know, just kind of silly. I mean, he's a very silly character in the lore of this whole story. He's a shapeshifter. He's kind of rogue, if that makes sense, which is cool. But I don't know. It's just not my favorite. And maybe I will eat those words in the future. I'm sure somebody out there will tell me a deck that he goes in that's going to be fantastic. But As of right now, I just don't see it, if I'm going to be honest, unfortunately. I really do hope I'm wrong on that, but Bone Crusher Giant is our rare here. But regardless, there's even though the planeswalkers aren't super exciting in my opinion, there's still quite a number of cards that I'm excited for, and I love the new things that they're doing with this. We see it with this Bone Crusher Giant, that kind of premium card frame there. Absolutely love it. I love the fact that they're doing the collectors packs. I think that's really cool. And very exciting for collectors, which I would definitely fall into that category. Just because it gives you that kind of premium look. I mean, it's a little bit of extra value. Obviously, it costs a little bit more, which is, I mean, expected for what you're getting. But it's one of those things that kind of sets up some added value long term. And I think as a collector, that's exactly what you're looking for. So pretty excited about that. I'm really excited to be opening up that box as soon as we get it. I will go ahead and say I do have some work-related things that I will have to be doing next week. And so if I don't get it up right away, I do apologize, but we will save it and make sure that we can record and open that up for you guys as soon as possible. I'd really like to do that. So pretty excited about that. I did open one of the collector's packs that I got. Oh, there we go. The Royal Scions is one of the 3 planeswalkers. Definitely, I think, the best, in my opinion, and absolutely love that card. But again, as far as planeswalkers go, not the most amazing we've ever seen, but that's okay. But regardless, I will be opening up that collector's box for you guys at some point. Just don't know when yet, unfortunately. But we're getting down pretty close, actually. Let's see. Witchclaw Talisman is our rare here, and then a foil Tall as a Beanstalk. Very, very focused on the lore of this one. If you guys don't know, if you're kind of new to this set, or if you just haven't read up on it too much, it is very focused on fairy tales, and like Brothers Grimm fairy tales in particular, and then focused in a bit of a Camelot theme, where it's very night focused, things like that. So kind of a cool theme. Again, very Lorwyn-esque. A lot of people are comparing it to Lorwyn, and it does make sense too. And I like that. Lorwyn was a very, very good set as far as theme goes. Clackbridge Troll is our rare. As far as theme goes, it was one of the best, absolutely. And so I really like it. I'm excited. I hope Standard plays out in a very interesting way, and I do think it will. The adventure mechanic, I think, is going to play into that a good bit, and so we'll see. But the fact that you can basically get 2 effects off of having a single card slot taken up in your deck is always welcome. We've seen that time and time again with split cards, things like that. Always exciting. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Lochmere Serpent is our rare. We've only got 3 packs left before that collector's pack. But anyway, regardless, we are rounding this one out. It looks like we did get a fairly high number of foils, and I don't think that that's abnormal. I do think that's what people can expect, just because, again, they mentioned, and I don't know if this is holding true technically speaking, or if they're actually confirming this or not, but it seems like they confirmed with the last core set that they were going to be doing a higher number of foils, and it looks like that reigns true here as well. Last pack, let's see what we get. And then we got, of course, that collector's pack, which, so much value to be had there. I love that. All right. We got Bone Crusher Giant, again, but with a different card frame, and, all right, collector's pack time. So if you don't know, this stuff is really, really cool. A lot of foils, a lot of awesome stuff. Lonesome Unicorn, Lochwain Paladin, Silverflame Squire, Vantress Paladin, Jousting Dummy, Oakham Ranger, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Redcap Melee, Righteousness, Seer Eleonora, The Discerning, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Rare Fae of Wishes, Beanstalk Giant, Rosethorn, wow, Alkalite, Rowan's Battle Guard, Opportunistic Dragon with that very cool full art. Love that. A foil Torbrain Thane of Redfall. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And then, of course, these foil tokens, which are absolutely beautiful. So Looking through the box, we only got 4 mythics. One of them was foil. I do think that's a bit on the low end, but that foil one really, really sets it up. I love that. The Royal Scions, absolutely fantastic. Realmcloak Giant, absolute monster in Limited, absolutely. And Master of Pranks, little unsure about him. We talked about him on the podcast, so I'll let you guys listen to what I had thoughts-wise on that. Foil Mirror Maid, which is nice, and some really, really nice rares. Again, we're seeing some of those premium card frames as well, which I absolutely love. So, guys, huge thank you to Grand Slam for sponsoring this and providing us with this box. We could not do this without them, so thank you very much. Good luck to all of you at pre-release. I do not yet know if I will be attending or not, but I certainly hope you guys have a fantastic time. Please let me know how your decks go and how your record turns out in the end. But if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like or a comment down below. And as always, please make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of our awesome content. But with that, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next box opening video.